Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. What's going on, everyone? How are you? We are here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show with your host, me, Juan D. Clouser, or John D. Clouser, whichever one you prefer. What's going on? How are you? This is episode 150. Can you believe this? So I just had to restart this podcast 30 seconds in because I was like, okay, let's go. Let's start recording. So I pushed record, looked down, had zero levels on my computer. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why? Is because I did not hit record on the audio. So that happened. Wow, how awful that would have been if I just went into this tirade of long bullshit and I looked down. I'm like, oh, you're not recording at all. But I hope you guys are doing well. This is the first full week of the new year. I hope you guys are doing well. As well as, are you staying with your resolution? Hope you're hitting the gym. It tends to be a new one. Surprisingly, so far, the gym has not been that packed in mine. This is the weirdest time of the year. Like you notice it more like in a big city. Like when I was living in Los Angeles, I noticed it a lot more there. Lived in Dallas, noticed it there. Even overseas, there's not that. It's funny because gyms are a little bit harder to find. They're not on every block like here in America. That's because we're fat as fuck. But the gym though it's one of those places where it's like I don't understand. Like whenever I have an idea for something like that, like okay, I had an idea for this podcast, right? So I just imagine it was like on a Tuesday. I had that idea on a Tuesday. Well, by the next Tuesday, I had already filmed something. I had already done an episode. Like you just got to do it. Like that's the reason I understand. Like someone who's like doesn't go to the gym is like, I'm going to start going to the gym, and they're like, the start of next month. It's like why do that? Like you just said fuck you to the idea. Just in general, just right there. So your right thing was like, well, I want to get in shape, but I'm not going to start getting in shape until the beginning of next month. Why would you just not start that night, that day? Hell, like start the next day. You could just start the next day. I can understand that. Like hell, give yourself at least a couple hours to like go buy a pair of shorts, buy a t-shirt, get a new pair of shoes, do something, and then go to the gym the next day. It's just, and then another people are like, I can't. I just don't want to spend the money on a gym membership. The gyms are so expensive. You have to be so rich. I'm like, okay, even if they are, I pay for my gym. Hell, I have a sauna. I have a hot tub. There's a freaking Olympic sized pool. Like I have multiple locations that I can go to and get all these things. And I pay $44, like $45. I just rounded up. A month. It's like why I've never understood. There's two things I've never understood when it comes to like health and fitness, and one of them is like, well, I can't spend the money on. I just can't spend the money on, on a gym membership. Like you have to be really rich, and then the other one is like, to eat healthy, you have to spend a lot of money. Like I spend $50 or less a week on my meals. It's not hard. If you really, let me tell you guys, you know what? If you really care about it, what you'll do is you'll just eat rice, and you can buy like a 25-pound bag of rice for 10 cents, guys. Rice is super cheap. Box rice. Get that and make the whole thing. That's for a normal size cup of rice. Will get you 4 cups. A normal size of rice. Yeah, we'll get you 4 cups of rice, and then 4 cups of rice can get you 15 to like 20, 21 meals. And then all you gotta do is just get a meat, get a protein, get ground beef. You can get the cheap protein or get the cheap ground beef, and then you just go, and then you have meals for a week. I used to do it for 2 weeks. Because I just know it, but now I'm like, fuck that, dude. I care so much about, I'm like, I'll just cook. I'll cook like 25 meals, and that's it. And it's not hard. Rice and a meat, rice and a meat, rice and a meat, rice and a meat, and then broccoli. You can get steamed broccoli. You can get a bag of steamed broccoli that will serve you, maybe it'll give you like 3 servings for $1. So it's 3 So that's one meal. That's like, and things like, people are like, well, I just don't want to eat the same thing every day. It's like, well, do you want a 6-pack? Let me tell you something. This is something a model told me in between her sucking my wiener. And okay, but seriously though, a model, a runway model, a famous runway model. She was like, I was asking her, I'm like, so what's your key to like being fit and being fitness, like for fitness and all that stuff to like, if you are just somebody who's like not working out and then want to work out and all that stuff. And she's like, the best thing I can tell you that motivates me, nothing tastes better than a 6-pack, having a 6-pack. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking great. That is true. And I've lived with that with mentality. If you want some motivational thing, listen to that supermodel when she says nothing, and she's like, nothing tastes better than having a 6-pack. And I'm like, all right, well, this should make you want to put a burger down. This should make you say fuck you to beer. That should make you want to go run 10 miles every day. It's like you either one or you don't. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. And like, you don't think like yesterday, I drank like 8 beers throughout, like starting from 12 o'clock to like maybe like 10 o'clock. Like, that's all I did. I drank like 8 beers. I guess it's like one beer an hour. That's really not that bad actually, John. But I was fucking pretty tanked. And for me, that's tanked. And you're like, John, wow. I mean, yeah, but I do everything in moderation. Just do things in moderation. I smoke pot. Moderation. I do this podcast 1 week. Moderation. Some people say that's too much. But, guys, I don't know. Another thing. Where do you guys find these motivational quotes of like, you gotta make space if you want to move forward? Like, who in the living fuck thought of that and was like, I need to tell people this? Like, there's no way you hear that and it's like, yeah, I'm smart. Like, I'm smart for finding this or thinking like this. It's like, it's not. It's like, well, no shit. You gotta make space to move forward. You gotta do everything. That's with anything. It's literally metaphor and figuratively and literally, like both of them. It's like, Jesus. And another thing, people quit saying like it's literally something. Like, you're meaning figuratively. It's figuratively this. It's not literally this. It's figuratively this. Like, I'm figuratively so hungry I could eat a horse. Like, no, I'm not like, I'm literally so hungry I could feed a horse. And you know why? You know what? And it's like, John, it doesn't sound good. Then just don't use either one. Because what you're using is wrong, and then what you're meaning, it doesn't sound right. So just say like, hey, I'm just really hungry. Don't say literally. Because when you're saying it like that, wow, over here, oh, the grammar Nazi. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we're almost 10 minutes into this podcast. And actually only 8 minutes into this podcast, and I still haven't done the video of the week. It's kind of fitting now to fit into what we were talking about, because it's about people and help grow some people. Oh shit! I didn't do. I did not. I didn't put another audio thing. So what I'm gonna have to do is that, like, I guess, this space right, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have to like slice it in right here, and then like 3, 2, 1. All right, and we're back, guys. Okay, that's great. Hey, that's the beautiful thing about filmmaking, and the beautiful thing about everything is that, like, I can cut in and out. I could literally like cut in right now the atomic bomb explosion. And see, and I'm back. It's just what happens. This is what you can do with filmmaking. That's what I tell people all the time. Like, I love filmmaking so much, and the thing I love about it is that it's like magic. Like, you're the closest thing to magic. I'm making still like right now when I'm recording. Was it maybe 30 still frames for every 1 second, and then I'm making that, slicing them all together, pushing it all together, and making a video, and making me now a moving. But this is just one still frame for 30 seconds for every 1 second. 30 still frames for every 1 second, and that is able to make me do all these motions, and because that's all I am. All I am right now to you visually, I am just a series of still photos, but our brain is what it does is it tries to compute things. It's the same thing when you hear another language. Your brain will try to will listen to the sounds, and will try to then connect sounds to sounds that you know the meanings to, quote unquote, which again, I've told you before. I think language is so crazy. I think the fact that we just choose these sounds, and these sounds are what we just listen. Like you're listening to me talk, and you know exactly what I'm saying. Well, for the most part, unless you're from somewhere else, or don't understand our sounds, our language, and yeah, but yeah. So then so with film, like it's crazy how we do that, and how I can even the ability to being able to do that is insane to me. Not just insane, but it's just incomprehensible. And the thing also too about filmmaking is that you can never be perfect at it, ever. Like even the people who are what we call perfect are not perfect. Like they're like, even then they're like, well, I can get better. I can do more. But yeah. So that video, huh? Crazy video. That's the thing. Like I grew up with so many people that way. I can't be the only one. Everyone had like those just country people. Yeah, and the craziest thing is that like those motherfuckers are the most strongest cunts in the world. They are so fucking strong. Because I would work with these farm bred kids, and the thing is like, because if you work on a farm, you just get this strength that you'll never get anywhere. Like it's like, because like you meet those country guys, and like you shake their hands, and like you can even feel like their tendons are fucking like strong as fuck too. Like it's just like and like they're just thick and broad, and they're just like it just feels like God just put a little bit more air in their muscles. It's like but yeah, I grew up with like, it's so funny, like, but it's just like you're really teaching your kid already know how to like, why would you not just like, there's already a hole in the can. Why are you making someone? I know, and it's like, let him learn that in college. That's where you're supposed to learn that. Oh man, but was it the other? Like, I'm a pretty big bro. I'm a bro for sure. I really like to feel like I hide it now, in the sense of like of doing bro-ish actions. Now my humor is like that. If you follow me on Instagram, John D. Clouser, at John D. Clouser. It is the same name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. Anyway, like my humor, yeah, very bro-ish. You'd be like, oh yeah, this guy, he, was into that kind of shit. And like, it's very, I feel like I'm very polarizing in that sense, because like you're really gonna like that stuff, and you have to just like, you can't expect anything of intelligence when you see my stories and my stuff on Instagram, or like my social media stuff, or even this, really, because this is practice for me. I'm just like throwing shit against the wall. The best thing I like to do is like, it's called posts and ghosts. You just post stuff and you just get the fuck out, and you just like don't give a fuck if anyone likes it, if anyone comments on it. You just post it and you ghost it, and you post and you ghost, and you just keep doing stuff, and people just know you from just making stuff, versus like every once in a while I'll leave a comment, and after I do it, I always feel gross, even if it was kind of funny. Like I had one the other day. It was literally just, I know I did that. I said it right. It was all it was just Patrick, or that play was wild, and it was Patrick throwing a touchdown, and they had like over 2,000 likes. I'm like, how in the hell did something that simple? But then I'm like, it probably just hit those algorithmic words where like people will look for these words all the time, and so because of that, it gets popped up a lot. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. And then you do that, and I'm like, okay, I should have just left it at that. Then I just posted this thing. Do you see that Meek Mill's thing? Meek Mill's, I guess, went to Ghana and filmed in the Jubilee house. And I guess apparently, if you're not familiar with this, I had to look it up, because I'm Egyptian. I didn't even know this. And I feel actually kind of bad that I didn't know this. But then like, I'm like, oh, well, now I see why they got so upset with it. But now I know what this thing is. And I can, yeah, I'm I guess more educated. I hate, It sounds really pretentious, but even using the word pretentious is pretentious. Have you noticed that? Have you ever thought about that? Using the word pretentious, like, oh, that person's so pretentious. Like, what? Because I guarantee a lot of people don't know what that word means. And assuming that people don't know what that word means is also pretentious. Anyway, and it's anyway, not anyways. Anyways would be like a direction, and that doesn't make sense of what you're saying. Like, anyways. Or is that? I don't think anyways is even a word. I don't think it's even a word. But this was a moment where I forgot where I was going with my story. Oh yeah, the Jubilee house. Yeah. Can you guys tell this is the first high of the day? So I hadn't smoked all day because I've been moving and stuff, and and you'd think I'd been would have gotten this thing done, didn't? I was moving more of the stuff that's going to be in the background today. And then one of the things got absolutely fucking destroyed, which is just great. I just love spending money on stuff and just watching it just get destroyed in moments and not being able to salvage it one bit. So it's awesome. But I'm like, also then I was thinking, I don't really need it because it's like the back part of a shelf. You know, like that. It's cardboard, John. Like, it's not like you can't go buy cardboard, but actually, you know what? I'll just do that. Oh, you know what I should do? I'll just buy a bunch of cardboard, tape it to the back of it, put some holes in it, and put lights in the back of it so it looks like and now it just adds like a different backdrop. It'll just add a different thing. So actually, in retrospect, it's probably a good idea that did happen. And yeah, I'll just do that. And then plus, it's only going to be on when. The only reason I was even upset was because I was like, well, shit, that sucks because I won't have a back part to that for when I film because it's going to be in the shot. The shelf is going to be in the shot. It has a bunch of stuff like film stuff on it. And so like a funny thing, I collect a lot of film cameras, a lot of like old audio equipment. What else? Like camera gear, and I have it's like a small museum, but the shelf is just dedicated to all this film stuff, and like the evolution of like cameras and like the evolution of audio equipment, and like I have this old projector from World War II that the Nazis used. That stuff's cool to me because it's like it's film gear and it's like there's historical meaning to it, and I don't know if I should say that. I think it's from World War II. Almost positive that it was from World War II. Actually, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't. Korean? I think it might have been the Korean War. And it's yeah. Dude, oh shit. No, I was thinking, okay, so I listened to a podcast and a friend gave another friend they gave him a tea set that there's like a 98% chance that like that tea set was owned by Hitler and Hitler used it on a daily basis. So, and that was the joke behind it was like, that's so fucked up and so fucking weird, but why would you do that? And I guess like, I never looked at it as a bad thing. And this is someone who wears the Star of David and middle name's David and is Jewish. And like, I never looked at it as a bad thing. Like when like a soldier had like Nazi memorabilia or they had just like war memorabilia, it's like I don't look at that as a bad thing. Like I'm like, well, one, they fought in that war, and then two, I never thought it was a bad thing if someone collected it, and I could see how it could be, and someone could be upset by that because I don't know, because I this is the God honest truth. How I'm at like. And this is someone who's of color, who's foreign, who wasn't even born in America. So this wasn't even my battle. I was born in Honduras, and like they weren't any of this shit. This was none of we were not even considered people back then. You know what's so funny? Like in the 30s and the 40s, Latinos, like you're like, who are Latinos? You just don't. We didn't come into existence until you needed us for building roofs and picking. Like you weren't gonna let like black people are not gonna like work in the fields anymore, so you had to get someone to do it. So like we're the next closest people, and we'll do it for super cheap. which is still not good because I'm talking myself into some big ass fucking holes this week. It's like, damn, John, like, you're like, why are you talking about that? Like, you shouldn't talk about that. That's something it's above your intelligence level, bro. Bruh. Oh, being a bro. Yeah. That was, dude, you can tell that this is like my first high of the day. I hadn't smoked pot all day, and then right for this podcast, I smoked pot. And I am on the moon. And you're like, why is he all over the goddamn place tonight? And that is why. And I'm quite upset with I got this lamp, and it's shape of Saturn, and the damn thing, I don't know, I can't get it to fucking work. I think I charged it. I think it's fully charged. I think, and then I'm just like, okay. And then like it says like hit the bottom of it. And I'm like, I couldn't hit the bottom, and like it won't turn on or anything like that. And I'm like, why won't this thing work? And it's like, John, I think it's because you're not high. Like if you're high, you would have some like a little bit of calmness to you, and like you'd like sit there and look at it, and you'd hit it. It's so funny. Like I love saying that sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, John, sometimes certain things you do, you don't do them well when you're not high, and then when you do them when you're high, you're like Rayman with it. Like when it comes to like figuring like little gadgets out, like okay, this is the funniest thing. Not baked. I look at a Rubik's Cube and I couldn't figure that shit out. And then when I got high for the first time, I looked at a Rubik's Cube. I'm like, oh, it's a mathematical equation. Oh, do you see the mathematical equation to this? And I'm like, I was like, it's done. And they're like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, I don't know how I was able to figure it out. I could do it now. It's not high, but like it took me high to look at a Rubik's Cube and be able to figure out the equational thing that you have to do it. And then when you take the physical things, because I'm not that smart. I don't know the equation, is that the right term, the mathematical equation to change it. But yeah, I was like, it's not that hard, guys. Like, it's not that hard. And then archery, really suck at it when I'm high. When I'm not high, that when I'm high, I am. Bam! It's because like I chill the fuck out. I chill out a little bit because I'm antsy and I'm amped all the time. Because a lot of things just annoy the shit out of me. Tell you the truth, just to be completely honest with you, they just absolutely annoy the hell out of me. I looked at the clock and I thought it said 72 minutes. I'm like, one, I haven't talked for that long, and then two, if I had talked that long, the camera would have turned off by now. I don't think a battery would even be able to last 72 minutes. It's like, dude, guys, I don't think you guys understand. I am so incredibly high right now. I moved into a new studio, and so I don't feel like the people that I was renting the last studio in, they were like, we really don't like talking about profanity or drugs or anything like that stuff. So like, do not talk about that stuff, please. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, they are giving me a good deal on this studio, so I probably shouldn't say anything. I shouldn't say those things, and I should be a good tenant. Which was the only time that I've ever censored myself in a certain way. And then now I'm like, well, fuck it. I got fucking ripped before this. And yeah. And I live in a state now where it's legal, or we voted that it's going to be legal for medical, I believe, not recreational, but I think just medical. Again, I'm high. It's so fun. Like when you just like go into it, it's way funnier. But yeah, it's just, what else? I had a really stupid thought the other day. Oh yeah. Okay. So crystals have always been around, right? Right. Crystals have always been a thing. The little rocks. And I don't understand how, like, in the last couple of years, they just become magical. What happened? What happened to these to make them magical? That's weird. Sage, weird to me too. Like, the studio I have not saged this place at all. Not at all. It's just, here we are, right? Here we are. Hey, Macarena. Man, you can tell that like this podcast just has hit a wall because I'm just like, God damn it, dude. Like after this, I still got to do a bunch of cooking. I got to do a bunch of laundry. It's real fun stuff. It's like just one place after another, after another, after another. That's all I've been doing all day. It's a great thing to be doing on a day off. On a day off. Yeah, so are you guys doing well? Doing great. You can't tell them just like kind of like, I'm like, oh, okay, we got 3.5 minutes left. Okay, how can I just break? How can I do this? What else? What else can we talk about? Curiosity killed the cat is a dumb saying. I mean, yeah, I'm not a cat, so I think that's kind of dumb. And then I don't. Well, yeah. Well, that one died quick, didn't it, guys? So the NFL season. I guess we'll end with that. So the Rams lost yesterday. Not a shocker. Their season's finally fucking done. Oh my God, this season was a season from hell. But we won a Super Bowl last year, so you can't really be that upset. I'm like, this is what happens. Like 50% of the teams who make the playoffs the year before don't make the playoffs the next year. So, and we are that half. We were in that 50% that didn't make it. We just did not make it. You know, just my son just thumb punched this. Yeah, sucked. All I have is the Chiefs to root for now, which is not a bad thing because my favorite player plays for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes. It's so funny. Like there's really little hate, but everyone hates everyone around him. It's hilarious. It's so funny. Like everyone's like, why would you hate Patrick Mahomes? Well, how could you hate Patrick? And then you look at everyone around like, I fucking hate him. I hate her. That baby's starting to get some color. So it's starting to look like someone of color. I'm like, where is the fucking black in this baby? Just everyone's like, John, you can't say this. I gotta say this. I gotta ask. It's like, where is it? So funny. It's like it's coming. But we're here, right, guys? Playoff football is here. Go Chiefs. Predictions: Chiefs gonna win. Duh. Seeing the Cowboys lose, and the sooner they lose is better. That's always good. Yesterday, seeing Watson just getting sacked was great. That was the first time I watched him all season. Because that whole fucking massage mess. So that's the thing. But yeah, this is where we're at. So I have about a minute left. You guys can put your tray tables up. Put your seats up, please. Your phones still need to be on airplane mode. If they're not, that's probably why this podcast has been all to shit. It's probably your fault. Not my fault at all. I did nothing wrong because we live in a society where like you don't have to take blame or you don't have to take responsibilities of anything that you do because why would you? Why? You just blame everyone else. Blame everyone else. And then you just do drugs. Be like, well, it's not my fault. Actually, it's an awful time to do drugs. Don't do drugs. I feel so bad for kids in college. Like you'll never get to experience like getting high on ecstasy and then like somehow getting yourself locked up in an attic of a house and a house party and just hearing everyone else like having a good time in the normal part of the house and you're just up in the attic rolling fucking balls. Like you're just fucking tripping shit and you are just like, this is a great fucking time because I was just alone, but I was in an attic in fucking South Dakota. Like it was insane. All right, guys. Well, I will talk to you on the next episode.